tenekoto katoa, na mihi nui kia katoa katoa. Warm greetings to everyone that is joining us here in New Zealand in this early morning or across the globe. It's nice to see many familiar names in a participants list. I'm sure Diana will feel very supported from Latin America. It is a pleasure to welcome you, all of you, to the lecture of Diana Wiesner as part of the Thinkers and Doers lecture series. My name is Bruno Marquez, and I am the program director for the Landscape Architecture degree at Victoria University of Wellington, Te Herenga Waka. The Thinkers and Doers lecture series aims at bringing together practitioners, scholars, students, and the wider community of landscape architecture, and also any affiliated built environment disciplines, with the aim to share ideas and to hear the latest innovations in the field. This is an initiative between the New Zealand Institute of Landscape Architects, Wellington branch, and our landscape architecture program at the university. Our seventh speaker, Diana Wiesner, is the founder and director of the Fundación Cerros de Bogotá and the head of Arquitectura y Paisaje design office. And she is very passionate about enhancing the cultural values of our landscapes, especially in her native Colombia in South America. Diana believes that her approach seeks to integrate culturally based placemaking and community participation to advance the health and well-being of humans and our ecosystems at local, regional, and global scales. Her outstanding 20 years career has granted her many awards and invitations to international conferences to celebrate the potential of public spaces, not only for education, but also for cultural events, environmental and ecological enhancement, recreation, and overall joy. Her lecture will be titled From Design to Action, and will look at urban public spaces and their unique spatial structures and ecosystems, and how they should therefore be equipped with ecosystematic provisions, regulations, and public and cultural services, all of which to boost civic solidarity, equality, and culture, and in turn lead to fluent public and private relations and better human health for both physical and emotional. Diana will present a wide range of proposals and designs that were turned into actions with a delicate activism for the main landscape patrimony, the mountains of Bogotá, and how those actions contribute to this transformation. Just very quick, some housekeeping rules. Don't forget that Diana will be sharing her screen, so keep this window open. I will stop sharing my screen very shortly. Also, please remain muted throughout the presentation so we can minimize any background noise. And there will be time at the end to ask your questions, either verbally or you can also write them in a chat box. So please join me in welcoming Diana to our Thinkers and Doers all the way from Bogotá.
Thank you, Bruno. It's a pleasure being here, sharing with you and being part of this initiative. It's very in Colombia and what we are doing in our country. So I named this conference From Design to Action because I have two shirts, one from designer and the other like a volunteer time, committed citizen with our biodiversity and our landscape in Bogotá. So what I want to share, it's of course one of my passions that I began with when I was very little with my mother. Everywhere in Colombia we were making rides, and she was an artisan and she was taking care of the artisans in Colombia. The jewelry you see in the right is one of her works and the people that we know in all of our travel in Colombia were incredible people bringing form into their cultures and solving in a very artistic way the different ways to survive. And Colombia is the country of the chontaduro, the achiote, and the curcuma, which are the colors that you see there, where the landscape brings into handcrafts, and we have those incredible colors and cultures. And if we talk about Latin America in general, it's a continent of cities. And if we talk about Latin America, it necessarily requires talking about our common themes, such as the celebration of having countries with a worthwhile biodiversity, a great cultural force, and a recognition of a urban complexity. Here is my city, Bogota, and this is the Paramos, where I am in love with, are one of the most beautiful ecosystems that we have surround the city in only 1 hour walking. But in this mega diverse country like Colombia, urban development has prioritized efficiency over the landscape forces and human forms of sensitive appropriation of the territory. So my work has been trying to put a powerful feeling of understanding nature, but of course, to understand the way of relations from the people to the territory, and how to keep this force and this relation in all of our work, having very different retos and difficulties in our work. And I call myself also an artisan. I think I work with my hands, and I try to be very involved with the people and the places, and always growing and always trying to catch the feeling of the places. So I'm going to speak first about some of the works we have done very quickly, and then to turn into what has been our relation and our commitment in a country like Colombia. So we talk about honor to life, because landscape architecture is always related with life and bringing different parts in each space that we design with the life, bringing life. The most important is the water, and we are a country of water. Colombia is a mega diverse country with 3 diverse mountains that have all kind of ranges, and we have this big river that is the Magdalena River, but the people doesn't relate so very well with that river. So we made different proposals of different rivers in Colombia so people can relate better with the environment, bringing the life near the river in an amphibious way, and also with having constructions with the handcraft of the artisans of the place. Other rivers in Colombia, this is in the very south, in the center of one city that is called Pasto, where the carnivals take place. We try to recover an occupied space for the river and bring the dynamics of the river, even though it was contained in the city. So we try to make this celebration of life of the carnivals in the spaces of the Pasto River. Also, we interview another river here in Bogota, 22 kilometers of a space that is the more contaminated river in Bogota, in the very south, where families try to survive. And we at the beginning, named this project the socio-ecological corridor, that is called Tunjuelo, in the very south of the city. But most of the space and the project is more like bringing families into the river. So even though our client was the mayor of Bogota, his main perspective was more bringing cycleways and pathways. And we try to make this combination not only to bring public space, but also to bring nature to the spaces and to recover the wetlands that are surrounding that neighborhoods. And the main important thing for us was bringing families into nature in different ways of enjoying life. Another thing that we bring into our projects is simplicity. This is a drawing in the ground of a little park that we have done in China in an IFLA competition, and it was bringing playfully places for the Chinese, like in Colombia we play, as we also as persons try to bring playing and having fun in the landscape. So I draw the hamacas that are here. They were Colombian hamacas, and in China they put the Colombian hamacas also. And this little park that it was called the droplet water, because it was inspired in the force of a droplet water that makes like a labyrinth, because living in Colombia is like living in a labyrinth. We never know what is going to happen the next day. And Colombia is a place where we have abundance of water, but also lack of water, and that's inscribes the landscape or the types of landscape we have. So here in this park, we try to remember the neblina, which is this kind of spaces where people with the dust doesn't see each other. And the nice things of this competition was that the people were voting for the park that they like it most, not a judgment of professionals. It was from people. It was very nice. So we have these common things from China and Colombia. It was the brick, the guadua, the bambusa guadua, and the orchids that we have. So we have these shared types of details of landscape, and we put it in this little garden. Another thing is, of course, the imaginary from people. All the works that we have done is bringing try to bring the multiplicity of all social stories that make up the park in the rural areas, where people is bringing agriculture, learning from water, and we try to do all our best for bringing them the quality of maintaining their rituals and the agriculture costumes and all the way they relate with the place. So the only things that we made was trying to bring visually the process of treating the water, and people could learn about how could an intervention give by honor to the biodiversity that is there, like the ranas and the amphibians and all that. This is another project in Bogota. This is a public library. We call this the Forbidden because we made a proposal with all forbidden materials that were in the public cartilla that it's from the city. And we bring these stairs that we have for ventilar naturalmente. It was like bringing natural air conditioning from the auditory in the inside, and we bring this vegetation and this crushed brick that it's not permitted in our country, even though all the city is constructed with brick. And we make this this park at the beginning. It was very contradictory, but then people began to love it, and they, as you see, put love messages in the ground. The other projects that we have done try to bring people like they feel at home, and with this little detail of the lighting, trying to bring people as feeling in home. And one of these that it was very with a public in Las Grietas. I'm sorry about my English. And this is like anecdote because we try to put this biodiversity in little creeks, and it was like an intention, and also it was very questioned by malezas, we call it here in Bogota. It's called breeds. Another project, it was in a master plan for a school that is a school of girls that have 80 hectares of mountain in the city. So, but we need to make a recovery of the forest. So we designed a plan where the girls, when they go in the began to interview the forests with little plants, and when they get older, at bringing out, because we need a plan for recovering a forest. Now I'm going to talk specifically about our city, a passion of my life. We have a city of 8 million people and a rural area, very proud because we have incredible water systems and the mountains. And as you see here, the Paramos are one of the most beautiful landscapes of the place, where the neblina, this fog, it's like bringing water into the plants, and we have the privilege of having a lot of water to serve the region because it condenses in these frailejones plants. So these incredible landscapes bring the water into the region and are nearby, surrounding the city. And the city hasn't known about that because the city has grown without perceiving and having a sensitive relation with the landscape, with the water, and with the mountain system. But we are perfectly conscious about this incredible potential that we have. And we made a proposal to honor our mountains. We make a study because we have been looking what in all the years that we have in the city had not recognized this privilege And now that we are in quarantines, we understand more that the importance of this. We have also a system of wetlands that have been occupied by the urbanization. And we have still a savanna de Bogota, which is a territory that has the agrological quality to bring food to the people of Bogota. But we haven't really realized that. And the city has been growing and growing over these ecosystems. And also even being like insensitive about the people that lives there, like this beautiful campesina. So what we have done to our rivers, no, these forces of nature, we have changed, and this slowly way of going very in the mountains with 120 streams, but they are converted into these channels, giving a poor urbanism. So we proposed 10 years ago to have the right of the mountains, that people have the right to enjoy the mountains, to have a mountains that they can go secure, then they can be human, taking in account the people, they can be healthy, bringing health to people, psychological, emotional, physical health to people, to be sustainable, because all this water that is coming from the mountains cannot go into anywhere, into a tube in the city, and also, of course, to be resilient. So in that time, 10 years ago, we proposed a corridor, a space that people can enjoy the mountain, bringing like a limit from the city to the mountains. And we talk about like an ecological agreement from the people to the nature. It was very difficult because it was not only these kind of images that I'm showing to you, which was only recognizing what it was happening there. Here, the agricultural parks, we put that people can enjoy the agricultural parks, but bringing an edge so people know where the city ends. It was 10 years ago, and we tried to tell them that all the schools and universities could teach in the mountain, but they didn't hear us. I have been published in all the landscape magazines in the world, recognitions, but here in my country, we haven't been recognized. We have been taught that we have to restore our mountain with collaboration of the people, bringing the people that lives near the mountains, being part of it. We tell them that we can perceive all our cities in all these 53 kilometers long around the city with our feet and our senses, being sensitive with the people that lives there and being participated with bringing and transforming this border. But 10 years ago, it was incredible, but there was no political decision. There was no political priority about the mountains. And we also talk about the importance of the rivers that we have in the savannah, and to bring into the Rio Bogota and to restore all these parks with the water and bringing culture of water to the people. And having examples of many, many cities around the world about ecologies and projective ecologies, bringing water as the center or the axis of the design in agriculture, in biowealth, and all the things that, of course, you all know. And our river, that is the Bogota River, that is very contaminated, we also propose to have different systems of bringing the Madres Viejas again to life. So the river and the mountains would not be limits of the city only, but the axis of the region in a biodiversity and a landscape perspective. And we made all the proposals to defend our Sabana de Bogotá, which is a place where we can grow food and be in living an amphibious way, because of course these are territories that happen. You know, there are the times or the very low times of the institutions that they don't do anything. The academia that is going in a way different from the activist life, from the citizen life. The academia is in their spaces, and the activist people, the citizens, that are saying what is going to happen, what is need to be happen, but their voices aren't here. And of course, the time of nature, which is globally. So that's why we began to be like having a delicate activism. We began to say that our mountains were the main importance in the country, our main patrimony, cultural and natural patrimony, and the people need to work in an agreement to change the situation. This is us. We are the Fundación Cerros de Bogotá. We feel like a part of an ecosystem. This is our web page where we introduce ourselves, and we are part of this system. And we make decisions. We decide to, if we don't have money, we were only volunteers, so what is doing a network. And we began with the children. We have 18 schools in the mountains. So we began that children are the most important force to change the way the adults think. Because I was very upset. Nothing happened. The politicals didn't hear us, and we need the voices of the children. So we began like a strategy, bringing children from all the different cultural origins, from all types of schools, surround biodiversity and landscape. And we began doing competitions, saying, where basin do you live? Do you know, do you have a river nearby, or it was under the ground? Draw us a map and tell us what is happening in your place. And we have like 2,000 drawings and maps from all children around our region. And we were convinced that children and citizens with a greater knowledge, they can manage and participate in decision making. And of course, including educators and bringing a different way of reasoning of doing the city. So we began a very big movement, bringing the children together, knowing what the children of one school was making in the other, and of course recognizing all the voices of the children. From the voice of a country in a time of post-conflict and a peace process, it is essential to aim at building communities that appropriate a respectful and eco-friendly culture with the environment, as well as to recognize from a human perspective that the practices existing in the different urban settlements in order to strengthen the dialogue that allows a real transformation. We were convinced of that, and we began to work with them. We began to draw cuentos, stories from our biodiversity. here they don't teach about our local diversity. They don't teach. And we began also bringing people that live and defend their territories, trying to bring a social conception of the landscape, the place of the world in the construction of the conceptual part of the landscape, but from the voices of the people. So as Joaquin Araujo said, the landscape begins to be revived when I begin to read in the worlds of the ground, which its inhabitants have been written all about it over time. So we began different movements, trying to bring people together, bringing words, bringing images. We began a drawing that it was called Colectivo Bogotá Pinta Cerros. We were like 20 people from the citizens drawing the mountains and giving the names of the hills and streams, and having this huge drawing, collective drawing, that it was exposed in the Bogotá Museum. And we are making campaigns about the importance of our mountains, of our patrimony, and people cannot be more indifferent of this. So we bring everywhere we want, from drawings, from collective movements, from articles in the newspaper, from bringing children into the action. And then we have this place. This is a place that we have like 3 hectares in the mountain, and we call it a laboratory of transformation. And here in this laboratory, we open our doors for the people and said, the mountain needs you. The mountain needs your intervention. And we try in this little piece of the mountain to have this experiment or example of our proposal 10 years ago of what we were imagining about our proposal. And it was that people can restore, and people need to restore the mountain, because if people do it and involves, they change the way they relate with the nature. And in that way, they can push the politicians to change the way they think, the way they prioritize the things in the city. And in this place, for more than 5 years, the mountain has been speaking every Friday in workshops of ecological citizen culture called Bogotá Landscape Chair. Here, in this place, the place becomes like a catalyzer, generating more breathtaking social transformation than inauguration of infrastructure. So what I was telling, we don't need to do an infrastructure work. We need to bring people in transforming the place. We need that people learn about the importance. Invite different people to talk, and also the mountain dresses in colors of silent manifestations of delicate activism in collective works such as those that you can see here, from only collecting leaves and doing different ways. We bring art into nature to not only to insist of the importance of the ecological, but to insist in the importance of the relations. And here we have like a manifestation that was donate your tus flores viejas, tus flores marchitas, your older flowers of the, and we began like an honor to the decomposition, and we began with that kind of work. And also all the work with the children, with the maps of the children, well, talking about how they imagine the future city. Here the children are thinking and dreaming about what the future of the city could be. So our work is focused on consolidating it with actors, mainly children and young people, to the formation of a network that undertake citizen action and listen, collect, and generate consensus of the visions of the city and its landscape. Children have been involved in citizen science. They can measure, they can observe, they can have fun. Here there's a map of children near the Córdoba River. And here, Héctor Daniel and Juan Esteban, in the very south of the city, they express their sensitivity towards their territory and their concern about what they might happen there, because their neighborhood is in pressure of bringing them out about because of a risk. So what we have done is like many little points, like acupuncture points with networks, bringing what people is doing, the other activists, the children, and bringing in all these kind of points, we and I could bring my dream about the socio-ecological corridor in all the 53 kilometers, but doing with the people, doing that, recognizing all what people were doing. So we try now to reduce the distances between research, practice, and political decisions. We want to hear the voices and the proposals of the children and young people to take action and become citizens and agents of change. So decision makers need and knowledge that comes from science, of course, consistence from practice, from the neighborhoods and from the citizen bodies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Diana. Muchas gracias. I've seen you presenting before, and I was, of course, amazed with the work you have been doing, but you just blown me away with the quantity of work that has been put into all of this. It's amazing. And I mean, like, and the impact that it's creating, and awareness that it's creating on people, and especially in children, is just amazing. I'm so excited to see the work and how much has developed as well throughout these years. But all of this has been made on a voluntarily basis, right? This is so I just find this absolutely amazing. So now I hope that there will be some very interesting questions coming from people. I'm just going to give them some warming up. I think one of the main questions that I would have for you, and from all your talk, I understand that there is a lot of public awareness, but mostly political influence and decision. How has that changed throughout the years? Do you think that those in power are far more aware of the importance of the mountains and biodiversity, but also the work of landscape architects?
Yes, I think now we have an incredible opportunity, because there are two things. One is that everybody is at home, seeing the mountains from the inside and trying to dream about to walk in that mountains, and we don't have the possibility. So I think it's not, for me, I don't need to say it, because people are feeling that they need it. And the second thing that it's good, very good, that we have a new mayor. It's a woman mayor that is very sensitive in nature. And I think this is a unique time to bring this opportunity that people need the nature, people need to change the relation with nature, but they need, of course, to enjoy it. And we are pressuring her to bring this project into life, bring this dream that we have been pushing that 10 years ago into life, but with people. She is very sensitive, and I am very hopeful that she is going to have resonance in what we have been saying these last years.
Well, that's amazing. I hope that something will happen and the new mayor would really have some willingness to put some of these amazing ideas into action. Opening to all our participants. If you have any questions, you can either ask directly to Diana. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Or if you're a little shy, you can always type your question in the chat box. Anyone?
Hi, Bruno and Diana. This is Gloria Sarabia from Santiago de Chile. Nice to see you, nice to meet you both. Thank you, Diana, for your presentation. It was really, as Bruno said, incredible to see how you achieve children. That's a great work from landscape architecture, because we have many problems also here in Chile and Santiago. And I would like to ask Diana, what about your new strategies? You said that 10 years ago it was very difficult because themes about post-conflict in Colombia and things like that, it was kind of difficult to achieve the hills or go to the landscape. And what about now? Do you have new strategies that are more about planification, urban planification, or you continue to work with young people, children?
Well, the problem was not the conflict in Colombia, because the mountains are surrounding the city, and the city, of course, it has problems of security as any mountain, but it's a problem of bringing people that have no opportunities and work with this project. So we made this a planning proposal 10 years ago. It was the political decision. It was not, when I bring this proposal, it was published in all the newspapers and everything, but the next mayor was in jail because he didn't expend the money in what they need. And then it was another and another mayor that they didn't bring like a priority in the mountains, or bring proposals that were not involving people. So it was the difficulty. But when we began like 10 years ago working in our foundation, it was incredible. And what I was trying to show you today, it was how much many initiatives were going on from people defending their territories and from us with the children. So our strategy now, because we don't need to have more plans, we have like many plans here in the mountains. We have a lot of design and plans. We need action. So that's why we make this action in our little mountain reserve, and we make all these children coming and pushing hard about their voices. Now we have also a good moment, because we are defining our territorial plan, and I have this yesterday call that they hear me, and they are bringing the children in decisions of the planning of Bogota. And we will be working with them, with the children, and taking account their decisions. For people, from the normal people, it's like craziness, because they say, what can a children say? But I'm convinced that their ideas are incredible, and I have heard him, and I have heard them, and I have received their maps, and I have seen so many ideas of involving nature into the planning board. And when this call yesterday, that they told me, yes, the children are taken in account. The ministry is going to bring all of the children of Bogota the participation of this plan. So I'm very happy because we are like having success on that. Of course, there is no infrastructure, nothing, but we need more to change relations from the peoples. And if children are involved, the family are involved, the teachers are involved, so we are going to make a revolution.
Well, thank you. That's great, and congratulations about that. I work here in Santiago de Chile in La Universidad Católica, and I'm guiding a research about water landscapes in south of Chile, the lakes. So it's a very good initiative, and thank you very much for answering. I love it about children.
Thank you, Gloria.
Huh? Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you. We have two questions in our chat box. The first one is from Ivan Santamarina. What are the most challenging issues Bogota faces in terms of resilience today?
Well, as maybe I talk, but very quickly, we have a great savanna that is a ground agricultural place that it was very pressured about urbanism. And the last plans were to urbanize that area. And we have a very huge discussion about that. And in this mayor said, we are not going to allow that. So we are very happy also because I have done many images to the Bogotanos saying what is going to happen if we have urbanized that and what is happening if we don't urbanize that space. We can bring food from people inside Bogota, we can have biodiversity, we can have parks, and we want that with many people, of course, with many citizens, we want that discussion. And also, water, it's the main reto. Yes, like, because the classical urbanism doesn't take in account bringing new green and blue infrastructure. We are still struggling with that. And there is conventional urbanism still in every part of the city. We have many difficulties here about pressuring our ecosystems and taking and maintaining them. That is our main struggle.
Thank you. There is another question from Mel, also in the chat box. Is flooding a major issue along the river? What sort of design interventions have been proposed to deal with this in the future?
If flooding is a major issue, yes. What I show in a part, it was in the Bogota River. It was channelized mostly, but we make a proposal that we can recover the old meandros and madres viejas. I don't know if you understand me, but I don't know how to say it in English.
The meanders of the river.
And yes, and madre viejas that were cutted. So we designed with like a restoration of bringing and trying to clean the water with these macrophyte systems in natural ways with hydrological ways of passing the water through. This is in design, of course. We are all again struggling that the environmental agencies take it in account and do it.
Okay, any final questions so we can wrap up the session? No, like everyone is very quiet. Okay, I will then close this session. Muchas gracias, Diana, thank you very much for joining us and showing the amazing work that you are doing in Bogota. I've always been very impressed every time I've seen you presenting, and especially the passion and the inspiration that comes with it. I love the idea that we are molding the next generation to be far more aware of environmental issues, and especially the work of landscape architects. I think that's a great strategy to make them active world citizens. And yeah, so thank you so much for connecting all the way from Bogota, and for, you know, especially here early morning in New Zealand, to give us all these fresh, inspirational ideas for us to carry on our working days. And I do hope I will see you in the future once, you know, things calm down internationally. And all the best with the work in Bogota, and all the best, you know, in coping with this unusual situation this year. And yeah, I hope to see you in the future again. Thank everyone for joining us, you know, from all the corners of the globe. It's great to have such a diverse audience. So yeah, take care.
Well, it was a pleasure being here, and say hello to everybody that came here, and hope this this time that brings a new way of relating with nature and with others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and all the best. Take good care of yourself.
Same for you. Bye.
Bye.